Do you prefer Karen?
This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for another podcast with a musician. We are being brought to you by EMPKT PR, and they are a professional PR service in New York. So, hi to all my friends there. And they referred Sidney Riley to me. And as soon as I read the little bio they sent, it was like, we definitely need to talk to Sidney because number one, he has a new release coming out tomorrow. But number two, his backstory of how he got to where he is today. Um, I'm not sure most people, Sidney, would feel like they're a survivor, but you survived something that really could have taken your life away. So give us a little bit of backstory.
Sure. Yeah. No. Well, thank you for having me again. It's a pleasure to
Sure.
meet you virtually. Yeah. Backstory. I guess. So I was growing up. I was a big soccer player. I thought I would play soccer, and tried to kind of move my life in that route to do that. And then, I guess the beginning of my senior year of high school, I fell very ill. Wasn't really sure what it was at the time, but found out it was basically viral meningitis and viral encephalitis at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, and it completely debilitated me. I was in a coma for a couple months um, over at Georgetown Hospital. Took great care of me, so shout out to Georgetown. And when I woke up, I was paralyzed from my neck down, and the doctor, nobody really knew what happened, what the situation was, what I be left with, what I would be able to do, what I couldn't. So, but fortunately, through the grace of God and community and people kind of really cheering for me and rooting for me and being there, and my my amazing, pleasantly persistent mother with the hospital staff and all the other stuff that she was kind of juggling at the same time, I was able to kind of get my life back over the next year.
And the reason I wanted you to share your story, I don't know if you've been too busy with your music and maybe you don't know what's going on in the news,
Hmm.
but viral meningitis seems to be in a horrible outbreak amongst very young children.
Hmm.
And as they've been saying on the news, that the proper treatment and the faster that you catch it, the better chance you have of surviving, or
Hmm.
at least surviving without any ill effects. Um, so it's not necessarily a miracle that got you to where you are, but obviously you got into the right hands of the medical society in your area, and they helped you through this. So kudos to everybody that was involved, especially your mom, as you say. Sometimes
Yeah.
moms get the worst part of it. Um, uh, you know, they're feeling all the emotional pain. Well, you're probably
Yeah.
feeling the physical. So
Totally.
losing out of high school,
Sure.
how did that shape you? Obviously you got well, but you missed quite a bit there.
It's funny. When I woke up from my coma, I was still trying to like get acclimated with what was going on, right? What the situation was, where I was, all this kind of stuff. Um, my mindset and general approach towards life switched for me like a light switch. It was like drastic. I was really into soccer before, and now it was the farthest thing from my mind. And on top of that, uh, I started kind of, you know, celebrating these little victories as I would improve,
Right.
and having that, ability to walk or even just do the small little things that we take for granted, right? And then losing it, and then slowly getting it back. Just I am in a constant gratitude, like grateful for everything all the time type of, mindset. Um, and I don't say it all the time because I would annoy people that were hanging out with me. But as far as like where my mind's at, I'm literally constantly reminded of where I was with that, and it
Sure.
has it's like always I'm just grateful for everything. I'm grateful to be able to sit here and talk to you like this, and share my story with people. Anybody that's interested or maybe can be inspired by it, and uh, it also, so it's really kind of shaped my mind from the sense of just uh, being aware of more, you know what I mean? Acknowledging and
Absolutely.
processing and like, celebrating the little things here and there, seeing the little beauty in everything kind of thing.
Well, that's important. And for our listeners, you obviously don't know this, but I'm going to share it with you. Most of us have a love-hate relationship with technology, and
Hmm.
we just had one of those little moments. But I would say before I started podcasting,
Hmm.
or in the beginning of podcasting, I would just get irritated when those things happen. Okay. I would be irritated at your computer, your internet, and you for no good reason. Okay. But since I've been podcasting and I share my journey with people and I listen to theirs, um, I take those things with, okay, that's life. It happens. We'll get it fixed and then we'll move on.
Hmm.
Um, and that's over something, that I really have no control over.
Hmm.
I'm very proud of individuals like yourself who basically are facing what feels like the worst situation in their life. Here you were, a soccer player running up and down a field, and now you're lying in a bed
Hmm.
and you're not feeling. Is that when you got into music, or were you into music before all this?
I was into music initially, but not like so much that it was like like a really life focus of mine. I started singing, or got my first kind of opportunity to sing and exposure to it when I was 10, during a year that we were living overseas in the Middle East of my family. And my sister and I were randomly on this children's television show called Children's Choice, just
Okay.
because we were like American kids. And they did these singing tryouts for this little group that they wanted to do, and they had me, audition, and I sang, and it was John Denver's "Country Roads," and
Oh,
I'll never forget. Great song, my first one, and I sang that one, and after that, I was like, oh, I kind of like this. And that was my first kind of exposure to it. So then, ever since that, I was interested in it. It was a passion of mine. I wouldn't say it was like the dominant passion, um, but so yeah, so I kind of kept doing it. I kept singing. I I as I kind of grew up more, I started singing in choir. I started a cappella group in high school with so I could kind of get more experience singing. So I used to sing at national anthems,
yep.
do that kind of thing at sporting events, and it just kind of developed more, I'd say, after I started writing and adding the writing component to it.
So we're just coming out of the pandemic. Okay.
Hmm.
What was that like for you as a performer and a writer? Because many, felt that they were just stuck. The only thing that they could do was maybe go on Facebook Live or do a Zoom show for somebody. How did
Hmm.
it affect you?
Well, I'll tell you, especially in the past few years, my main source of motivation, inspiration, where I kind of look for things has been other people, in the
Okay.
sense of kind of trying to process or, really kind of learn and process other people's perspective with how they kind of live whatever they're
Right.
passionate about, and then using that perspective into like, songs and music and kind of lyrics and, that whole thing. So to go from being in person as often or as regularly as I would have liked to now it's going to be virtual. Like something like this is great, right? It's awesome that
Right.
we can see each other and do this, but at the same time, it's not the same as like being with people, right? And
Exactly.
personally, my strength is being in front of people. I'm an extroverted people person, right? Uh, suck at online dating. I was always, just talking to people. I met my wife just at like a bar, said hi, introduce myself. That's my thing. So, to lose that, it was definitely an adjustment because I
Right.
was, loved that energy that you get, and I feed off of that. And to not have that so much and just do so much on your own, um, yeah, it kind of forced me to try to find inspiration in other places. Um, you know, taking more of a proactive approach towards that, but
Right.
it was still different for sure.
Yeah. We've heard that a lot from musicians, but what I did hear from what I want to call seasoned musicians,
Hmm.
people who've been doing it 25, 30 years. Okay. Um, they really felt totally devastated because they didn't know, you know, how the reaction was going to be if they did a Facebook Live concert or a Zoom concert or some other virtual way. And they now are, a lot of them are saying, it's not that bad. I can put on a concert at 2 o'clock in the afternoon
Hmm.
and, have my little tip jar there. Um, but a lot of them are doing it as the rehearsal now. So
Hmm.
to get feedback. But I know live performance and live music, nothing compares to it. And
It's
I'm
true. Yeah.
grateful that we have a lot in this area. But tomorrow you have something new coming out, and it's called It's Always Been You.
Yep. I'm
Tell us
super
a little bit
excited.
about it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. This song is special to me because the where it kind of initially started from was, my wife and I, even when we were dating, we used to just, if we were driving back from somewhere and if it was late or whatever, we would be blasting the Righteous Brothers' version of Unchained Melody. We'd be, blasting like Elvis, like I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, and these type of like epic classic love songs. And
Okay.
especially their version of uh, the Righteous Brothers, Unchained Melody, that song more so. And we had such a great time and kind of connecting on that front. And I wanted to make our own version of that for her as like a surprise kind of thing, right? So that was where I initially thought about it. And then after I had done like a demo of it, I played it, for her to kind of get some feedback, and it was like her favorite thing I've ever done. So then I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna work on this and build this out more. So I uh, did a whole thing of recording it in private, so she didn't know, and then I surprised her with like the finished version at our wedding.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So this is exciting. I'm so happy with the song. I'm so proud of it. I think, uh, plus, there's personal connections. Plus, I think, it can really be the soundtrack for any love story, which I think is great. I think it can really kind of hit some important or kind of like really kind of meaningful places in a lot of ways. And, you know, at the end of the day, it celebrates, the potential of love, the numerous ways we can discover and rediscover and re-fall in love again, and I guess human connection in general. And that's what, I'm so excited about. I think as much as I love it, as much as it's personal, it's also, I, you know, I think you can kind of tell me maybe after you listen, but I think it's super relatable. And I think it is, takes a classic and fresh approach at the same time.
Well, I will tell you, there's a lot of music out there today that you can't use all those adjectives for. So I'm really looking forward to
Yeah.
listening to it. And I have
Thank
to
you.
apologize. I didn't listen to it prior. I've been recording almost nonstop since yesterday morning, um, trying to get some things in so that I can have a longer weekend.
Well, yeah. Well, no apology needed. Yeah. Take your time.
But
No,
it will, but it will be out there for all of us to hear tomorrow.
yep. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Um, are you doing something else besides launching it tomorrow? Are you going to be performing it anywhere?
Um, I'm not going to be performing it tomorrow, or probably I have a couple shows coming up later. Going to be playing at Aruba Fashion Week, and that is still being set up, scheduled. And then I'm going to be doing the Deaf Nation World Expo in Las Vegas, July 31st to August 4th, with some other artists, and I'll probably perform it there. That'll probably be the first place outside of maybe something unplugged in the local area that I'll do it on a larger scale. Um, so I was really kind of wanting to have everybody really experience the fully produced version. Like the guy who produced it is a good friend of mine, and we really even hired instrumentalists, like violinists, a cellist, to really step in and do this. So I'm really happy with it, and I want ideally everybody's first impression to be the finished produced version of it. Before you even hear me do it live, because I don't think
That's
it would do it justice.
well, you're probably being a little bit modest, but um, I will listen to it, then I'll figure out how to hear you sing it live.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Well, I'd love to do it live after
so,
that. Yeah.
so what's on your agenda going forward? You have this new one coming out tomorrow, but
Hmm.
are you continuously writing, or are you on a hiatus from writing? What's
Uh, Continuously writing, even on. on a hiatus, it's important to take a break and refresh and step back, especially, when you are looking for new ways to be inspired or new places to find inspiration. And just to kind of reset. So I did do that for a little bit, but I'm always writing. I'm going to be releasing another song after this as well, a new one, and then I'll be working on a couple other projects as well in the meantime too. So I got some other stuff in the pipeline coming up that I'm excited about. So I can't wait to share that as well.
So where can our listeners find you if they want to follow you?
So on Instagram, if you want to follow me, it's at I am Sidney Riley. I kind of live on Instagram at this point. It's SIDNEYRILEY.
Okay.
Or if you just want to check me out online, it's iamsidneyriley.com as well.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well,
come say hi to me. Follow me on Instagram. I'll follow you back. I'm all about messaging, connection. So yeah, pop on, say hi, please.
well, and I want to share with our listeners one of the best things I ever decided to do when we started this internet radio station.
Mhm.
I said, we are going to be talking to musicians, artists, because there are so many people out in this world that we don't even know. And once we get to know you, hear your sounds, see how you produce something, it's such a great feeling that, it's not limited to just those, top 10 that you might hear on the radio.
Mhm.
And oftentimes it's the music of someone like Sidney Riley that just, gets to you and you just go, wow, I need to hear more. So we are looking forward to following you.
Yeah, thank you so
Uh,
much. Yeah, I can't wait to share with you. I'd love to hear your feedback. Let me know what you think
Absolutely.
after you listen,
I definitely
please.
will.
Okay, great.
In the
Good.
meantime, have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much, Karen. Thank you for
Thank
having me.
you. Sure. Bye-bye now.
All right, bye.